Willingness to believe. Influence of the good forces of the Spirit. BD0649 from November 1, 1938, taken from book number 14. Perseverance in faith is unspeakably blissful for the soul. It gives it a feeling of well-being, as it beneficially experiences the blessings of divine strength and grace, and the ascent to higher regions becomes easier as a result. And so a soul can only be redeemed if the human being, in profound faith, accomplishes everything that is beneficial to the soul. For faith is followed by love. And in love the human being then seeks affirmation. And works of love again increase the strength, attract the closeness of God, and the soul gradually releases itself from its bonds and unites with the Spirit from God within it. For all progress can only take place when the soul separates itself from the desire that has hitherto bound it. When it desires nothing other than to be with God, then every endeavor will be easy for it and will certainly lead to the goal. In order to come into possession of complete faith, man must free himself from all false doctrine, from superstition. He must try to entrust himself to the Supreme Being, whom he cannot intellectually deny, and ask this being for spiritual enlightenment. Then the right faith will already be offered to him in a palatable form, for if the human being wants to, then he is already on the right path as soon as he freely turns to the Supreme Being in supplication. Only someone who is so completely without faith that he does not want to recognize anything and looks at and accepts life around and within himself with indifference, his heart is very hardened and will not come closer to faith so easily. He too will be told about the faith and the teaching of Christ, but he will reject everything and arrogantly consider himself to be knowledgeable and recognizing, while laughing at others. If such people are not taught otherwise by the deep sufferings sent to them by the Lord, then it looks very sad for such a soul, and all endeavors of the good spiritual beings, whose protection they are entrusted with, are in vain. It is an unparalleled struggle for such souls who persist in faithlessness, and the most extreme means must be used to dissuade them from their deluded thinking, whereas a believing earthly human being triggers indescribable joy in the kingdom of the beyond and inspires the good spirits to ever greater activity of love towards the souls entrusted to them. The slightest concession on earth will be used to influence a person's train of thought, and thus even unbelieving people will often feel prompted to think about the most unsolved problems. They certainly reject everything, but they cannot always resist their thoughts, which often lead people into areas where they themselves cannot find their way, and such musings are always of value even if they are still far removed from the truth. And no matter how devoted a person is to the world, there come hours when even all earthly things cannot entice him, where he thinks about the beginning and the end, where a quiet restlessness creeps over him when he thinks of his demise. If nothing in life could change him, then the thought of death will shake him out of his mental torpor, albeit in a less than pleasant way, but it can then be built upon by the spiritual forces that care for him. And blessed is he who follows the admonitions within him, who, even at the end of his days, deals with everything that can lead him to faith, and who seriously repents in earthly life of what he has neglected and asks God for his help and mercy. The Father will lovingly meet him in the last hour and bless him. And his struggle in the afterlife will be an easier one. Amen.